Thank you for checking out Lakehead International's videos. You're about to watch one of our Lakehead International live webinars, a fun and informative way to learn more about Lakehead while also meeting faculty, staff, and current students. If you have any questions throughout today's video, please comment below. Otherwise, let's get started.
Join us to learn more about the next steps in the admissions process. Of course, I wouldn't be able to do today's webinar without our behind-the-scenes team, Alexia and Paula today, who will be helping support the question and answer section of today's webinar. And of course, they'll be answering throughout the entire event. For those of you who haven't joined before, you may not know who I am, and I'm happy to introduce myself. My name is Jordan Ball. I'm the International New and Social Media Officer. I help run all of our live events, our digital experiences, our social media channels, as well as the Global Ambassador Program here on the Thunder Bay campus. So it's a pleasure to be here today. I'm looking forward to sharing more details about the next steps in guiding you. And of course, today we're going to be focusing a bit further on accepting your offer and then the next steps following that. In terms of an agenda, first I'm going to do some upcoming events and share more details about where you can find us next. After that, we'll chat a bit about the Lakehead application status. So based on your current application status with us here at Lakehead, what does that mean for you in terms of next steps? And then we'll actually chat about those next steps. So there's a wide range of them, including reviewing your offer, then accepting that offer, then paying your fees, course registration, connecting with fellow students, and like I said before, a live question and answer period. So for those of you who have joined us today, in most cases, you may already have applied to Lakehead University. And so the status of your application is going to be one of these on your screen. I'll start here with our undergraduate students. So if you're an undergraduate applicant and your status is incomplete, that means that we require more information to satisfy our needs and our admissions team. If your status is pending, that means your application is complete, but a decision has not yet been reached. If it's refused, that means that we have made a decision and we've determined that you're inadmissible to the program you applied for, or there's no room in that program. With that being said, if you've been refused, you're more than welcome to connect directly with our admissions team to determine your next steps and see if there's any alternative options for you. If you've been admitted conditionally, that means that you have conditions stated within your letter of acceptance, most likely the need of final documents or final course curriculums. However, you are still encouraged and you are prepared to move forward in the next steps, even with an admitted, if you're admitted conditionally. If you've just been admitted, there's no conditions on that. That means that you have an unconditional offer, as we like to say. So you can certainly proceed to the next steps with no worries and of course follow any of the deadlines associated on that letter. If you're eligible to register or ELI, that means, of course, you have been flipped to our current student status and you're now able to access course registration, especially for those students that are coming to Lakehead in the next few weeks here as we kick off our spring semester. You are most likely already eligible to register. If you're not, or if you need assistance registering, there's some tips towards the end of today's webinar. For our graduate applicants, so this is actually sort of an order of where your application will go. Number one, you're going to be in the application stage. That's going to be the very first stage that you go into, and that will be where you are completing your application. You're providing us with your information, you're uploading your unofficial documents, all that sort of stuff is the application stage. At that point, once you've submitted your application successfully, it will either go into two categories. It could go into initial review, which means that it's under review by our admissions officers within the Faculty of Graduate Study, and they're double checking and ensuring that you meet the minimum requirements for your desired program. You also could go into additional information as required. So that means that they will connect directly with you and let you know what do they need to continue assessing your application. If you are in department review, that means that after initial review, if you've satisfied all the needs, they send your application to the appropriate academic unit. So if you've applied to our Masters of Arts in Economics, for example, after that initial review, the department review, would mean that your application currently is with the Department of Economics. And they typically sit down as an admissions committee and review all current applications. So with that being said, these two processes, initial review and department review, can take quite some time, as our admissions process is, of course, very intensive, and it is very busy right now in terms of timing of the year. We know that our applications are being assessed in the thousands right now, so please have patience with our admissions officers as they continue to work through all of those applications. If you've received an offer to Lakehead, you would be admitted, and that's great news. Of course, it's time then to proceed to your next steps and action any of the requirements stated in that offer. If you've been refused by committee decision, so that means your department, your desired academic unit has reviewed your application, and you're not the right fit in terms of a candidate, they will refuse you at that point. You could also be refused by graduate studies, and that means that you did not meet the admission requirements for the program. And so that actually happens after initial review. So for those students that have been admitted conditionally or just admitted, they're eligible to register. Congratulations. I mean, that is exciting news, of course, and I hope you're looking forward to your next steps here with us at Lakehead and preparing for your journey. And let's dive into some of those next steps. So we have quite a list to get through here in terms of preparing and making sure you're on the right track. I want to make sure that you also have all the tools necessary and you're also staying on top of your own application. So let's dive into that a bit further. First and foremost, after applying, you should be looking and watching for an acknowledgement email. Your acknowledgement email will provide you with your Lakehead University student ID number, as well as your username and password to access your student portal and your Lakehead email account. If you do not receive this acknowledgement email, so if you're thinking back, I applied back in March or I applied back in February and I never got this email, I don't know what my Lakehead ID is, or I don't know my login credentials for my student portal. Check your spam folder and of course add us to the safe sender list. If you still can't find it, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we'll be happy to provide the next steps to actually receiving that information. Of course, it's a friendly reminder that once you have those details, keep them safe and keep them handy. So your Lakehead student number and your username and password are critically important to your application, and you should always have them on hand. You should either store them in your phone or, of course, wherever you keep important information. So maybe that's writing it down in a journal of sorts. Again, keeping that information accessible, safe, and handy so that whenever you need it, whether it's filling out a form at Lakehead, whether it's communicating with somebody at Lakehead, they ask, what is that information? You have it at the ready. I also want to remind undergraduate applicants that if you've applied through our OUAC application, you should also keep those passwords handy. Of course, that's where you would make any amendments to your application or changes to your application. You'd have to log in through the OUAC portal, and those login credentials are typically different than your Lakehead login information. Once you've successfully accessed your student information portal, you'll also be provided access with your Lakehead email. So we call it My Email, and this is your Lakehead University email account. The username and password to access your My Email is provided you in that same acknowledgement email. So like I was saying, that login credential is critically important for you to keep safe and handy so that you can access a wide range of services offered here at Lakehead. We will communicate with you regarding your application only through your Lakehead University email account in some cases. So it's always important that you're staying up to date and monitoring that email account. You can look forward to hearing more about application and next steps, perhaps scholarships, bursaries, and awards, residence, orientation, welcome day. All that sort of stuff is going to be communicated directly through your Lakehead University email, especially as we move towards the fall intake and we come up on our summer transition. So heading into June, July, and August, it's going to be critically important that you're monitoring that email as our faculty members and our several different departments that support that orientation and transition are going to be reaching out to you with important information. So if you haven't already taken the opportunity to explore your student portal, this is certainly where you may wish to start visiting that. Your information portal is a place, of course, where you can perform a variety of different functions related to both your enrollment as an applicant, but also eventually as a student as at Lakehead. So it's ever important to become familiar with this portal as you'll be using it day to day. Through your student information portal, you can track the status of your application. I should note that graduate applicants can also track their application and probably should track their application through their grad portal. So the grad application portal is where you would have uploaded your documents, you would have selected the program of study, filled out all your information. That's going to be the most up to date in terms of tracking your status, tracking the status of your application. You can also view application history. You can check the status of required documentation for undergrad students. You can apply for additional bursaries, register for residence, and plenty more within your student portal. So once you're actually logged in, this is just a quick screenshot of that page, and you can sort of see there's student finances, there's tax information, student planning, course registration, timetable, exams, grades, and transcripts. Again, this is the portal that empowers you to action a lot of important next steps in terms of enrollment and becoming a Lakehead student. The screenshot you see here is mine, so you won't necessarily have all of those tabs or features. And don't be worried about that. It's because I'm an alumni. I'm also a previous student and I'm an employee. So I see a few more options than most people. But that's okay. I want to make sure that if you're looking at your screen, your portal, and it doesn't quite look the same as this screenshot, not to worry. We know that your current status as an applicant has access to all the screens you need at this very moment. And like I said, track your application is an important next step. So you can track that application at any time using the appropriate online tools. I do want to remind viewers of the timelines, though, because this is going to be a popular question. I'm sure it's already come up in the question and answer period. For undergraduate applicants, generally Lakehead extends letters of acceptance or offers on a rolling basis to qualified applicants who have completed an application and submitted all of the supporting document. Normally, that admission decision will be released within 4 to 6 weeks of submitting that complete application. On the other hand, for our graduate applicants, once processed, your application will be forwarded to the appropriate academic department for review. Once an admission recommendation has been received by that academic unit and approved by the Faculty of Graduate Study, your application status will then be updated and your final and formal letter of acceptance will be issued and emailed to you to your Lakehead email. So unfortunately, there is no set date at which offers will be made for each academic unit. They work within their own time frames. And so therefore the admissions process is an ongoing process for each academic unit. So keep in mind, and please, I want to encourage you and remind you, have patience with our grad studies team as they work through thousands of applications as we speak. How do you track that application status? So like I said, you can do it in 2 different locations. For our undergraduate students, you're going to be going to your My Portal, and you can see under the Admission tab, there's a My Applications option. So within My Applications, there's a button called Check My Application Status. If you click on that, it's going to show you your complete application history, but also, of course, for any current applications for the upcoming intakes, you'll be able to view your live status within our system there. If you're a graduate student, you can see within the grad portal current active applications. So in this case, the screenshot on the left-hand side shows a Master's of Science in Computer Science, which is under initial review. That means that it's currently with the Faculty of Graduate Studies, and they're ensuring you meet the minimum admission requirements before they can extend your application to the faculty. On the right-hand side, you see a screenshot where it's a Master's of Education and it's under department review. In both cases, of course, we don't have answers to the admission decision quite yet, but I did want to make a note and draw attention to those 2 different options once again. So under initial review means that it's currently with the Faculty of Graduate Study and they're reviewing all of your application information to determine whether or not you've satisfied the admission requirements. If it's under department review, your application is currently with your academic unit and they are considering your application against the rest of the candidate pool to determine who's going to be the best fit for Lakehead. In terms of next steps, the next step after submitting an application, tracking your application, of course, is making sure you've also submitted any of your outstanding documents. So undergraduate applicants specifically, you're going to be required to share official transcripts. You may be required to provide language proficiency and prove that requirement. So whether that's going to be perhaps past schooling and you need to provide a transcript with a letter from your institution reminding us of the English medium of instruction, or perhaps you're going to complete one of our ESL tests, IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, one of the many options. You'll need to send us those final results so that we can make sure you are well prepared to join an English institution. If you're transferring from a college or university, you'll also be asked to provide course descriptions so that we can consider you for transfer credits. And for a select number of programs, media, film, and communication, as well as music, we will have non-academic requirements. So there is a portfolio requirement within media, film, and communications, and there is an audition within our music program. If you're looking to support any physical documentation, you can email transcripts and those supporting documentations to docs.admission@lakeheadu.ca. And once again, those will be used for a conditional assessment. So they cannot be accepted as your final official copy unless they're shared directly from the issuing institution. So say, for example, if you're transferring from a college or let's say a university in Ghana, and you are applying to an undergraduate program. If you're making that transfer and you want your transcripts to be considered official, your Guyanese university should email our admissions team at docs.admission@lakeheadu.ca directly with your transcripts. At that point, then our admissions team will review those documents and confirm their admissibility and eligibility for being satisfied as official. So some things to note, the portfolio for media, film, and communication, typically the preferred deadline is May 1, so that is fast approaching, just a few weeks from here. And our typical deadline to audition is June 1 for our music students. So please connect directly with your appropriate academic unit and determine what are your next steps in terms of providing those non-academic requirements, if that's applicable. For our graduate applicants, of course, applicants should already be uploading all of their supporting documents when they complete their application on their portal. A list of all of those required documents will be visible in the application portal after starting the application. So once you've actually added a program to apply for, at that point, you will then be able to access your task list, which includes all of the documents that we require. In accordance with current document submission procedures, applicants who are looking to provide final grades or proof of degree can either send a sealed hard copy, so a sealed envelope with a hard copy directly to our graduate studies team, or have their institution, from an institutional email, of course, email official copies to gstudent@lakeheadu.ca. So in terms of submitting your final official transcripts, you may be asking again, how do I get that to Lakehead? What makes it official? What makes it unofficial? So again, an official transcript is either mailed to Lakehead University directly from your institution. It's delivered or mailed by the applicant to Lakehead University in an envelope sealed originally by the institution, or it's sent electronically from the institution to Lakehead University's appropriate admissions team emails. Again, your emails are listed on the screen. So undergrad, if you're applying to a bachelor program, you're sending your official documents to docs.admission@lakeheadu.ca. If you're a graduate student, you're sending it to gstudent@lakeheadu.ca. So that's a bit about applications and tracking those applications, submitting documents. For those students that have already received offers, this is now where we change gears here in today's webinar, and we chat a bit about reviewing your letter of acceptance. Of course, once again, I want to remind you, congratulations on that. It's an incredible achievement to receive an offer to Lakehead University, and we want to celebrate that, and we want to help guide you in the next steps of the process. So in terms of the next steps, it's always important that you understand your letter of acceptance and that you've reviewed it and you completely have wrapped your head around it, essentially. So this is a sampling of a letter of acceptance from Lakehead University. The first thing that we're going to ask you to do is review and confirm the accuracy of your personal information. So did your name get spelled correctly? Does it match the name of your official travel document, such as your passport? That's incredibly important, so that your letter of acceptance matches your travel documents when you arrive in Canada and you're waiting for that final study permit processing. They're going to be looking for those sort of details. Is your date of birth correct? And is the address correct? So is it the address you currently live at and reside in? If any of these are wrong, please reach out to the appropriate admissions team. The next step of reviewing your letter of acceptance is, of course, looking into the program information. Is the program listed the one that you applied for? Or alternatively, if you apply to more than one, what offer is being, or what program is being offered to you right now? So they will only be able to admit you to one program. They can provide offers to multiple, but when you actually go to accept a program, you'll only have one option. So make sure that the program you've seen on the letter of acceptance here matches the one that you are hoping to join us with. Also, double check the start term. Is it the correct start term for the correct program? Is the campus location correct? Sometimes students don't realize that we have more than one campus here at Lakehead and just assume that the campus they're going to is the one that they've always desired or heard about. So we do have two campuses in Thunder Bay and Orillia. We also have a partnership program with Georgian College in Barrie, Ontario. So just double checking once again what campus's location is listed there. Make sure it's the one that you are hoping to join. Take note of the estimated tuition fees here. Of course, you're more than welcome to verify those details on exact tuition fees on our homepage on the website. With that being said, upcoming fees are typically released each spring in May. And so you may be waiting a few weeks before you get your new and final official fees for the upcoming academic year. And then the next stage is going to be your admission conditions and other important information. So this is where I really stress that there's an important aspect here that you need to read and understand any conditions listed in this section. Be sure you have clear plans to meet these conditions by the deadlines also included in this section of your letter. If you don't understand any of the conditions, that's what we're here for. Please reach out to our admissions team. They're happy to answer and support you in understanding this letter of acceptance. We want to make sure you understand it before you move forward in the next stage. You should also absolutely take note of the expiry date. This is the final date that will hold your spot at Lakehead until this date. If it passes, and you have changed your mind and you want to come to Lakehead, you can always reach out to our admissions team to see if there's any availability or what your procedures are moving forward. However, I would encourage everyone to take note of this date and action the offer before that date. So whether it's accepting it, paying your confirmation deposit, all before that deadline, before they may come back and say your offer is no longer valid and they may give your seat to somebody else. So always be sure that you're aware of any deadlines or dates that are applicable here. You also may want to take note of the length of your program, just in case that's a factor of consideration. And of course, take note of the important information related to your visa officer. And last but not least, the next steps include reviewing some we like to call next steps. Of course, this is going to share more information and provide instructions on how to accept your LOA, your letter of acceptance, the deadline to do this. And you also can take note of your confirmation deposit amount, how to pay it, and the deadline to pay that. So accepting your offer, first we'll take a peek at undergraduate students. You can log into your online application. You can either click choices or offers, depending on where you're accessing that from, to view any offers of admission. You can click offer or alternate offer, again, depending where you view that application. Once you've clicked accept to accept that offer, you'll then be asked to agree or say, yes, I'm ready to submit my changes or responses. Follow the instructions on the screen at that point to review and submit the process. And then once you've successfully completed the submission process, you will receive a confirmation number by email along with a summary of your responses to offers of admission or perhaps changes to your application information. We encourage you to always keep this email for your own records. For our graduate students, when you're ready to accept your offer, you'll log into your online application system. You'll see that there is an action required, and you can actually click on the green button that says Start, then click on the green button that says Accept to actually accept your offer. So looking at on the left-hand side, it says a Master's of Science in Computer Science admitted, check your Lakehead. And I know the three dots there actually are hiding check your Lakehead email, but that does say awarded and congratulations. If you click view, it's now going to bring you to the next screenshot on the right-hand side where it says you've been awarded. Please check your Lakehead email for your letter of acceptance. And then a decision is required. In this case, this is an older screenshot. It says March 3rd, 2022. Of course, yours should be a future date, provided that you've been staying on top of that status, and you will either accept or decline that offer. Once you've accepted your offer of admission, you'll be required to pay your confirmation deposit. So for our undergraduate students, the confirmation deposit for accepting your offer is $500 Canadian. You can see once again within this screenshot of your student portal, it's under the admissions tab, and under my applications, you'll click pay my confirmation deposit, and the online methods to pay are easily accessible from here. For our graduate students, your confirmation deposit is $1,000. These two screenshots show the different options that may be available to you. In some cases, the confirmation deposit payment will not be accessible quite yet, and you'll see the screenshot on the left-hand side. In most cases, those students will see the ability to pay right there from the grad application portal. And so you'll say, click here to pay. And once again, you'll proceed with the next steps of making that payment to secure your spot at Lakehead. For those undergraduate applicants, and I really want to make that clear, for undergraduate applicants only, you also will then be required to proceed with our provincial attestation letter process. So here is a quick overview of what those steps require. Number one in the PAL process is accepting your offer of admission and paying your confirmation deposit. So when you have that offer to Lakehead, go into our systems, accept it, and then make that confirmation deposit of $500 Canadian. As soon as you've done those, and your statuses reflect that. So of course, we'll have access to your status. We'll see when students accept their offer. We see when students pay their deposit. As soon as both of those requirements have been satisfied, you'll show up on what we like to call our PAL request form list. At that point, you'll be invited to participate and complete the PAL request form. Once you've completed that PAL request form, we'll review your submission to see where your next steps are. Are you perhaps going to sit down with us to continue the conversation? Are you then going to proceed to the PAL confirmation deposit payment option? There's a wide range of options here. So after you've completed that PAL request form, we will answer and get back to you with next steps within 5 business days. If you are successful and you are approved for a PAL at that point, we are now issuing the PAL confirmation deposit link. The PAL confirmation deposit link will allow you to make your $5,000 Canadian deposit payment to then receive your PAL. Once we've confirmed that payment, that's when our admissions team will then process the PAL letter from Lakehead University, and we'll share it directly with you within 5 to 7 business days. Following that, of course, you'll use that PAL to apply for your study permit. So next, in terms of the next steps, coming back to something that's applicable to both undergrad and grad students, how do you pay your fees? So there's a wide range of options. You can see there's 8 in total here listed on your screen. I won't read them all for you, but I'll draw attention to everything below step 3. So there's online banking, money orders and bank drafts, scholarships, bursaries, awards, and graduate awards, graduate assistantships, and sponsorships. These are the less common payment options. I'll be frank with you. I'll touch into the most popular methods in just a moment here, but first and foremost, I want to explain each of these so that we understand them a bit better. Online banking, of course, is only for Canadian banking institutions. So if you happen to have a family member who's helping support your education here in Canada and they have a Canadian bank, you're more than welcome to have them do online banking. Money orders or bank drafts, of course, can be mailed directly to Lakehead University, or if you're already in Canada, you can certainly send it directly to us. Scholarships, bursary awards, and graduate awards, that's only applicable to students who, of course, have received those opportunities and those funding options. Those will be applied directly to your student account. You also, if you have been admitted with a graduate assistantship at the master's or doctoral level, that would be noted and once again applied directly to your student account. And last but not least, if you're being sponsored by a government, an employer, a third-party agency, they'll work directly with our accounts team to make your final payments. Some other popular methods, as I noted, to pay those fees include Pay My Tuition, electronics transfers like Convera, which was formerly Western Union or Global Pay, or by credit card, which is powered by TouchNet PayPath. So the second option there, electronic transfers through Convera. The convenience of paying through Convera is that you get to pay in your local currency. It's cost effective and it's timely and it's reliable. And of course, most importantly, it's authorized by Lakehead University. If you choose to pay by credit card, we will accept Visa or MasterCard. And Pay My Tuition is another option that is available to you, and you can explore more on our website if you would like to see these options in greater detail. Following making those payments or at least preparing to make those payments, your next stage in your admissions process is course registration. So most importantly, before you actually begin registering, it's important that you review your university academic calendar. Your academic calendar will outline all of the required courses, all of the requirements in terms of uh, how you're going to satisfy your degree and graduate in a timely manner. The university calendar contains that important information related to university regulations, faculty regulations, and department regulations. And like I noted already, it also includes those program requirements and course descriptions. For our undergraduate viewers, I would encourage you to consult the academic calendar. You can plan and prepare as much as you would like to make sure that your first semesters here at Lakehead are smooth and you have the courses you are most desired to participate in. And then you can also use the tool called Build My Pre-Registration, which is going to be available in early June for fall entry students. When you're ready, and when it's available, of course, you can submit your course registration using the pre-registration builder, and you can proceed to register for those courses, typically available in July. If you're a graduate student, of course, we similarly will encourage you to consult your academic calendar, plan and prepare. However, at this point, you'll then work directly with your graduate coordinator and they'll reach out to you with further instructions. And this in communication will all happen through your Lakehead My email. So that is a quick overview of your next steps in the admissions process. I see plenty of questions and plenty of chats happening. So I'm going to pull those up and help my colleagues out here behind the scenes now answer them as quickly as I can. So this one says, please, how much is general tuition fee? So tuition fees range quite widely depending on the program of study and level of study you're pursuing. What I would encourage anyone who is curious about the fees to do is to visit lakeheadu.ca/tuition. So www.lakeheadu.ca. And I'll answer this publicly so that everyone can see it as well. But lakeheadu.ca/tuition is going to bring you right to our website, which has an estimator tool, which will then allow you to populate more information related to your specific studies. This one says, I submitted my application for MSc on the 11th of April and the status just showed submitted. Can I ask normally how long it takes to go through the whole process and can know how the final decision will be made? So if you've just submitted as of April 11th, I would encourage you to have plenty of patience because we are currently still in the initial review of applications from as late as January at this point. Our graduate studies team is working through thousands of applications as we speak, and so you may not hear back from our graduate studies team in terms of that initial review or then that department review for several weeks still to come. Like I noted earlier in today's presentation, for our graduate students, there is no defined timeline in terms of when we'll have a response to your application. I would encourage you to have patience, follow and track your application status, and make sure that you're also keeping an eye on your Lakehead email in case there's any questions about further documentation. You want to be able to answer that quickly and provide it so that they can continue looking at your application. This question says, is it possible to start applying for a supervisor now before given admission or after my documents have been reviewed? So if you have applied to a thesis-based program or perhaps a portfolio or project-based program which requires a supervisor, and you did not note a supervisor or a potential supervisor on your application, you could still certainly continue to reach out to faculty members here at Lakehead to see if anyone is available to support your thesis studies or your master's studies. However, select programs, of course, will also consider your application even without a supervisor, and they'll do the matching on your behalf. So I would encourage you to perhaps connect directly with your graduate coordinator and see what are the appropriate next steps in terms of supervisors. And then from there, you can decide how to move forward, whether or not it's best to start reaching out or whether it's best to wait to hear about your admission status and see if they'll match you directly based on your own previous studies. This question says, I would like to ask, do I need to submit official transcripts for my university or do I need to do WES? You can certainly submit your official transcripts from your university to begin. So I would encourage you to have your institution, your university, send your transcripts directly to Lakehead's admissions team. They'll review those transcripts, and then at that point, they will determine if they need any further assessment. So if they determine at that point they'll need a WES assessment, they will reach out to you and you can action that at that point. We certainly wouldn't want to encourage you to do that now and pay all that money for a WES assessment if it's not going to be required. If you've already applied to other institutions and they've by far and wide, I should say, have requested that WES assessment, you may want to then provide it at that point. But once again, I would encourage you to just submit your official school transcripts to begin. And if we require any additional information, we'll let you know. Another question, when will I receive a decision if I apply to March 3rd? Unfortunately, I don't have any information on when you'll hear back. Of course, we're advocating and working closely with our graduate studies team to make sure that they're supported in their ability to process and track all those applications that they're working on right now. However, like I said before, unfortunately, I won't be able to give you a timeline on when you'll receive a response from our admissions team. How can I confirm that you have received my official documents? That's a great question. So you can certainly, if you've applied to our undergraduate admissions, you can view your document submissions online, and there will be an option there for final official transcripts, and it will say whether or not it's been received. If you've applied to one of our graduate studies program, I would encourage you to reach out directly to our graduate studies team by emailing gstudent@lakeheadu.ca. Just to be sure, the PAL is not applicable to graduate students. Correct. So the provincial attestation letter is only applicable to undergraduate students or those students pursuing a bachelor's degree. If you're intending on joining Lakehead for a master's degree or a PhD doctoral program, you do not require a provincial attestation letter. Is it too late to submit my application for fall 2024? Thanks for the question, Terry. It depends on what program you're looking to apply for. I would encourage you to perhaps connect with one of our recruitment advisors to discuss your application further. Check in to see what program you're applying for, and then we can guide you in the process and determine whether or not fall is going to be the right fit for you, or perhaps delaying that application to give you more time to process the application and then secure a Canadian study permit will be the best option moving forward. This question says, I applied for postgrads and over 2 months now. My status was under department review, but now is no more showing. Please, is it normal and when should I expect admission decision? I understand, Joshua, that everyone is anxious to hear back from our admissions team and learn more about the decision on their application. If you were under department review and that's no longer showing, that's okay. Our admissions team are still processing applications unless your status changed to something else. If it went to refused or if it was admitted, of course, at that point, you know there's been a change in your status. But if you simply cannot see it, don't worry. They're still processing your application. Unfortunately, like I've noted before, I'm not able to provide you with a timeline on when they're going to reach a decision, though. Okay, so this question says students sometimes are denied visa after payment of confirmation fee and other fee. Is there a way Lakehead University can assist or the program could be deferred to the next academic session? That's a great question, Daniel. We recognize the ability to have visas denied even after making confirmation deposits to Lakehead. We do have a policy in place where if you've made your confirmation deposit of either 500 or 1,000 for the admissions piece, and of course, and for the $5,000 for the PALs for undergraduate students, if your visa is rejected or it's denied, we will issue a refund for any confirmation deposits at that point. However, you will need to provide us with your full documentation from that refusal from IRCC so that we can review the reasons why you were denied and make sure that it wasn't that it was rejected at that point, and then we will issue a refund. I currently have a tourist visa application which hasn't been completed. Can I go ahead to begin another application for my study permit? Yes. So if you are an undergraduate student, of course, you'll need that provincial attestation letter. If you're a grad student pursuing a master's or doctoral program, you can proceed to your study permit application immediately, and I would encourage you to do that sooner than later. Can a student defer his or her program after receiving an offer letter? You can certainly connect directly with our admissions team to determine whether or not that's an option for your program. For undergraduate students, most of you will be able to defer your admission. So that means that if you've been admitted to the program, you can actually defer that admission to that program to an alternative and upcoming intake. For our grad students, in most cases, you'll be able to defer your application. So if you've been admitted for fall 2024 and you defer your application to fall 2025, there will be no guarantee by our Faculty of Graduate Study that you'll receive an offer again. Another question says from Daniel, please, I would like to know how long does it take when my application is on the decision stage. Unfortunately, the timelines on processing those applications in the different stages varies by academic unit and of course the volume and quality of applications. So I'm not able to give you any more details about timeline, unfortunately, but please have patience. Like I've noted countless times, graduate studies, the team that handles all master's and doctoral applications is processing thousands of applications as we speak. And so, of course, we know and we've anticipated that there would be a lengthy delay in terms of processing those applications. This question says, I requested to the graduate studies team to update my computer science background form after the deadline because of mistakes in the information. Will it cause any issues? Javon, I'm not quite sure about that. I would encourage you to connect directly with our graduate studies team and perhaps connect directly with the Department of Computer Science and relay the same information that you've requested updates to that computer science background form because you realize there was mistakes in the information. And they can advise you whether or not that's going to affect their overall processing of your application. This question said, are there campus jobs available at the university? So we do have a select number of on-campus jobs available here at Lakehead. For example, my department within International, we hire upwards of 5 students each year. And then there's other teams here at Lakehead that will hire a few other students, and they have a wide range of administrative roles or support roles. They're pretty exciting jobs. Of course, they're convenient for students being that they're on campus. Outside of working directly with Lakehead University, we also have food services provider on both of our campuses. And they often will hire students for part-time employment in terms of working in the residence or main cafeteria, or perhaps working at one of the vendors, such as being a Starbucks barista here on the Thunder Bay campus. All certainly options that you could pursue. If you're not able to find a job on campus, we have plenty of local employers in our hometown communities that are nearby and easily accessible. When will I receive my unconditional letter of acceptance since I have completed my conditions? So it's just a matter of when our teams have an opportunity to review your documentation and make sure that you did satisfy those conditions. Once again, they cannot remove any conditions if the information or the documentation you shared was not final or official. And so keep that in mind if you've already submitted that, but you know that perhaps you scanned a copy of a transcript, that will not suffice as final official. Another question. This says, thanks for the convincing response, but when can I know my application status? You can view your live application status immediately. You can go on to your application portal, whether that's through the undergrad portal and your student information portal, or whether that's the grad application portal. You can view your live application status right now. Is there an option to select a second course choice during the application process? So for our undergraduate students, you are eligible to include two different program options in terms of applying for the one fee. For our grad students, you would have to complete a second application, and it would require a second fee to assess your applications. This one says, I need final unconditional letter after fulfilling all the conditions on the letter and confirmation deposit. So once again, if you've already submitted all your final documentation and it's official, so that means it's either sent directly from the institution or it's delivered to Lakehead by sealed envelope, then they can process your final unofficial or unconditional offer letter. How does Masters in Computer Science offer co-op program? It is certainly an option for computer science at the master's level. So what they do is, as you'll complete your full first year of courses within computer science, and then going into the following term, you'll be eligible to participate in a co-op experience, which is a paid work placement that's recognized on your degree when you graduate. We do have a career services and co-op team here at Lakehead University, which will help you explore your options. It will be your responsibility to find job opportunities and employment within the realm of co-op. And then at that point, you would also share that job description and any of the appropriate information with your supervisor, your graduate coordinator. They would approve that co-op, and then you're off to the races. You are more than welcome to participate. Alrighty, just noting the time, folks, it's 9:53, so we have about 7 minutes left on today's webinar, and we do have a hard stop at 10 a.m., unfortunately, so we'll do our best to work through as many questions as possible, but we may not be able to get through all of them. So if that's the case, you are more than welcome to follow up with us. I'll move on to the next slide just so that everyone can see where you can contact us. You can find us at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also take a virtual campus tour at lakeheadu.ca/tours. And like I said before and earlier on today's webinar, if you want to check out our upcoming events, which we have plenty of exciting ones upcoming, all you have to do is scan the QR code at the bottom left of your screen, and it will bring you to our homepage where you can save your seat and register. Back to those questions, though, like I said, I'm going to do as many as possible in the next 5 minutes or so. Do you offer graduate scholarship to international students? So there are limited scholarships available to all graduate students, and that criteria for the students varies. So it could be based on your immigration status. So you could be a Canadian citizen, that could be a requirement, or it could be available to all students, including international students. But it also may be specific to the program you're studying. It could be looking for students pursuing a specific program and be at the top of their class. So there are a wide range of scholarships and awards available. It just depends if whether or not you satisfy the requirements. For graduate students, there are no entrance scholarships, so I should be clear about that. Our entrance scholarship program is only available to undergraduate students. Are there job opportunities for grad students? Absolutely. So similarly, whether you're an undergrad or grad student, there's going to be plenty of job opportunities on campus and in our hometown communities. You're just going to need to make sure that you have your resume ready to go. You're going to want to prepare for those interviews, and you will need to, of course, figure out what is your availability based on your course schedule and your upcoming commitments in terms of your academics. This question says, why Lakehead University is extending the deadline for application instead of giving a response on applied applications? That was a great question. So quite frankly, we extended the deadline this past year because of the federal government's announcement related to study permits. We recognized that some students were going to be put in a position where they were no longer going to be able to attend their studies here in Canada because they initially thought that they wanted to pursue undergraduate studies. At that point, we made the decision that we would like to extend our graduate applications so that students could, of course, change their path forward in terms of pursuing an education here in Canada. With that being said, although we extended deadline, April is a common time that graduate studies is extremely busy and students still have not heard back on their applications. So although we've extended the deadline this past year, and we gave students an additional month to apply. That's not to say that it has actually affected the processing times directly related to receiving a response on your application. I know it may seem that way, and I know everyone is eager to hear back from our graduate studies team about their application status or about their application in general. However, this is a very common time that students are eager to hear back, and we still have plenty of offers to send out. So have patience with them as they continue in the processing. This one says, would you consider a 3-year diploma and a 1-year honors degree equivalent to a 4-year degree? Most likely not. You are more than welcome to apply to our graduate studies team and have them assess your documentation. They do not offer pre-assessment services, but I would most likely say that you will not be eligible or you will not satisfy our 4-year bachelor degree requirement in terms of applying for a master's program. Are you offering scholarship for postgraduate? And when we are not offering entrance scholarships for postgraduate or graduate programs, we offer awards and bursaries once you actually arrive and become a student. And like I said earlier, there's a specific criteria and eligibility for those, and they are limited in terms of availability. I sent my application in on February 25th to resume for fall, and I'm yet to get any updates on the admission decision from the school. How long will I need to wait? Thank you for the question. We recognize, of course, at this point now you're looking at going on almost 2 months of processing. That is still typical, unfortunately. We are, of course, advocating to process those applications in a timely manner. However, as I've noted, we're processing thousands of applications right now, and so it will take some time to work through those applications and determine your admissibility to make sure you meet the requirements, and then, of course, send your application to the appropriate academic unit. All I can say and remind you is to monitor your application status on your graduate application portal. And at that point, you would then be able to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information. Do you offer loan to graduate students to pay for their tuition fee when they have a deadline to meet payment? We do not, Sarah. So Lakehead does not facilitate any loans to our students. However, you're more than welcome to, of course, pursue loans or financial support within your own home country and financial institutions within your home country. So folks, it is coming up on 10 o'clock now, so I will unfortunately have to wrap things up here and say thank you for joining us. It's been my pleasure to be your host today. Thank you to Paula and Alexi behind the scenes who have been helping answer over 85 questions now. With that being said, unfortunately, we do have to wrap things up as we do have a hard stop at 10 a.m. If we weren't able to get to your question today, you're more than welcome to send us an email, and I'll put this in the chat quickly for everyone. It's welcome@lakeheadu.ca. And that is our main email here within international enrollment. We'll answer your questions over there if that's possible. If not, you're more than welcome also to send us a chat on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. With that being said, thanks again and bye for now.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, I want to encourage you to comment below or connect with us on social media. We can be found at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for watching once again, and hopefully we'll see you at the next live webinar. Bye for now.